hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I am alive. Thank you very much for asking. Yes. How are we all? Are we well? I do hope so. Sorry I wasn't around yesterday. I was laying pipe. I'm not even going to fucking lie. Yeah, so that happened. Anyway, also it's my birthday tomorrow, so you have to be super nice to me. That is how it works. You have to be very nice to me, because this stream might go over into tomorrow, and then it would be my birthday. So you have to be nice to me. You have to be nice to me, okay? Those are the rules. I don't make the rules, okay? I just enforce them with a maniacal ruthlessness. It's Lesbian Hot Sauce's birthday tomorrow as well. No way. Am I birthday twinsies with celebrity Twitch streamer Lesbian Hot Sauce? I do hope so. That'd be fucking awesome. You also share a birthday with Jeffrey Dahmer. Thank you. Okay, Zap Brannigan. Well, I am wearing the very revealing uniform. I am. Zap Brannigan's so amazing, because like it's such a fantastic like takedown of Americana or American ways of thinking, and yet the people don't seem to get that. I think. You know?
I don't want to do this
or maybe
anymore.
I don't know. Maybe they do. And I don't get it. Maybe I'm the fool here. It's certainly possible. It's happened before. Thank you, Dr. Phil Decker. Although for some reason my fucking thing still isn't working. Why is the alert box not working? Looking for the old alert box settings, click here. Just do the thing. Play it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Kevin donated $86. This is a test donation for $86.
$86.
Kevin donated $13. This is a test donation for $13.
Okay, it worked that time.
Stop it. Get some help.
True, Mike. Fucking true, brother. Thank you, Phil Decker, for resubscribing. Much love to you. Happy birthday. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Maranaka, for resubscribing. 12 months. Or 25 months, even. And we're on a hype train. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will finger, at midnight, I will finger me being 37, because that Kev will be dead. And 38-year-old Kev will be in existence. The big 3-8, everybody. What the fuck is this? Burger. Can I just... Can I just say, he's got a burger. Nick Robinson, the serious journalist, has got a burger. He did bring a burger. He brought a burger to a knife fight. Poor form. I'm still well, yes, I am young and handsome and very breedable. I think we can all agree. Thank you, Carl Brown. Although you didn't scare the shit out of me because I didn't hear it. Because the noise alerts are fucking dog shit right now. But thank you, Carl Brown. Happy birthday for tomorrow, mate. Much love. God bless you. Anyway, I don't know what's going on with my fucking audio lately. It's been a bit fucking mental. Let's be honest. It's been a bit fucking weird. But anyway, yes, you can help me out financially in the usual ways. Bits, subs, memberships, super chats, noise alert things. You can scare the shit out of me with a super chat on YouTube. If the noise goes off. Which it might not do. Because it didn't then, did it? Fucking load of bollocks. Anyway. So the UK's a shithole. The UK's always been a shithole, to be fair. That's why, like, I needed Rory cats on the screen tonight. For those who don't know, if you're new here, this was my now, unfortunately, no longer with us cat. called Rory, who was the only king I will ever bow to, who used to stand on my face with his wet paws to wake me up, because he was a prick, but also awesome. But a prick, but awesome. He was awesomely prickish. He was an awesome prick. It didn't go off again. Why is it being cunty? Why is it being super cunty right now? Why is it not playing the thing? Ah, there we go. Fucking hell. See, it doesn't scare me when I'm literally hoping it'll happen. But if it ever actually triggers when I'm not expecting it, boom. I'll shit my pants again, because that's how it works. Thank you, Tess. You don't look a day over 38, Kev. Happy birthday. Well, thank you. I mean, I'm not technically a day over 38 yet. But I will be soon. Thank you, Seamstress. It says, happy birthday, Kev, you filthy bastard animal. Okay. I mean, I did say be nice. I did definitely say that, right? Glad you streamed on my only day from a gigantic... streamed on my only day from a gigantic opera, and I can relax to your wonderful silliness. What the... what? Hang on, you're in an opera, presumably. Like you're an opera singer or some shit, I don't fucking know. And this is your only day off, and you're spending it watching me. Yeah, I mean, that's... it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. Am I better than the opera? I'm occasionally understandable, so yes. Yes is the answer. Thank you, Dr. Phil Decker, with Bitty Bits. Much love to you. Not like Anna Kay, who was a birthing prick. Call back to when you made the joke. Well, yes. Indeed so. Anyhow. I just turned into 40. Oh, well, that's a shame that Mr. Peter Wood. Mr. Peter Wood. I'm going to do that every fucking time, mate. You're going to have to come to terms with it. Okay? I didn't realise Rory wasn't around anymore. Yeah, Rory Katz is no longer physically with us in this mortal realm. But as he is a god, he will always technically exist. Just on a different plane of existence, you know? He has returned to the top of Mount Olympus to annoy Zeus by putting his little cold nose in his fucking eye when he's trying to sleep. That sort of thing, you know. Rory isn't dead. He just returned to his home planet. Fuck yes. That sounded awesome. Anyway, I'm basically putting off the thing that we need to talk about, I think. It's in the title, so you already know. You already know it's bad, right? It's a very bad situation that's taking place. I mean, I could talk about, you know, Keir Starmer and his awful deal with the EU. I could do that. Yeah, I could talk about, well, various other fucking things to do with silly UK politics, etc., etc. But the only thing I think is even worth talking about, the thing that I think the whole of humanity needs to focus on right now, is... hang on, that is not at all what I meant to do there. For fuck's sake. It's that. It's literally this. Israel is going to kill 14,000 babies in 48 hours? Well, they're doing that right now. We're seeing a Holocaust happen in live stream right now. They are literally, purposefully starving to death 14,000 babies.
You know, let me describe what is on those trucks. This is baby food, baby nutrition. There are 14,000 babies that will die in the next 48 hours unless we can reach them. This is not food that Hamas are going to steal. No, we run the risk of looting. We run the risks of being hit as part of the Israeli military offensive.
You definitely do, because what they'll do is they'll claim they're going to allow you in and then just bomb your trucks so you can't send people in because it's not safe. Yes, and I did see David Lammy, the massive, massive cunt, stand up in the House of Commons, and the most they will do, this is what the British government's response to all of this is. We have suspended negotiations on a free trade agreement with Israel. Not we have stopped sending them arms. Not we've stopped flying RAF Akrotiri flights to aid and abet their genocide. Not that we're cutting diplomatic ties with them or kicking out their genocidal freak Zippy Hotovely, the Israeli ambassador to the UK, or anything like that. Nothing that might actually make any kind of difference. No. Just suspended temporarily negotiations around a free trade agreement. The British government, over the course of a long period of time, not just this one, but we'll focus on this one because it is the current government, will be damned for eternity, and rightly so, for their, not just even complicity like in some distant sense, their active and willing participation in the genocide of Palestinian people, the ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip, which, by the way, very funny that the very mild criticisms of Israel have been condemned by Smotrich as anti-Semitic. That being the same Smotrich who 48 hours ago gave a speech talking about how they want to permanently remove Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. But, you know, it's everyone else who's racist, you understand. Yeah. The British government are active and willing participants in this, and I don't know how anyone can ever justify voting for them ever again, in any circumstances. Absolutely morally fucking bankrupt piece of shit. Still sending them weapons now.
We run all sorts of risks trying to get that baby food through to those mothers who cannot feed their children right now because they're malnourished.
14,000 babies in 48 hours is an extraordinary figure.
It's chilling. It's utterly chilling. But this is what we do. We keep going. It will be frustrating. We will be impeded. We will run huge risks. But I don't see a better idea than getting that baby food in to those mums who at the moment cannot feed their own kids.
So that's just the United Nations Humanitarian Chief, Tom Fletcher, just matter-of-factly describing the way in which Israel is actively impeding his attempts to try and keep 14,000 babies alive. And again, just matter-of-factly talking about the way that they're going to be impeded and that they face threats of being violently attacked by Israeli IDF forces, even if they are allowed in to begin with. Why isn't the world going fucking mental about this? I do genuinely wonder. Because this isn't being hidden. This is on the BBC fucking website, right? This is mainstream, widely available information. And nothing's happening. Like, basically at all. Like I said, the British government's response is so lukewarm it barely registers as above freezing. I genuinely am lost for words. I'm genuinely lost for words for how fucking monumentally evil this is. Baby food rocket. Yeah, I wonder how Des Tiny and the other freaks, the other Zionist freaks, are dealing with this. I don't even really want to go and look, to be honest. Because they're just not worth addressing. What the fuck? Okay. The Jews for the... Hang on, I'm just going to read out this person's comments. Hypatia Stanhope. The Jews for the first time in 2,000 years can defend themselves. 2,000 years of abuse to be addressed. I don't know what abuse you think Palestinian babies have done to any Jewish people, be it in the last 2,000 years or otherwise. I don't know why you're bringing up 2,000 years of anything to do with modern geopolitics. That's not relevant to anything. And also, you're a cunt. You're a stupid genocide-defending cunt. I wish you nothing but pain in your entire life, in all your endeavours. I spit in your fucking face. Anyway. Yes, moving on. Talking, I suppose, of the... I only saw this in passing. I was on... By the way, everyone go and follow Tina too. You'll see my mental process in a second. Go and follow Tina too. She's Canadian, but she's alright. I wasn't aware of this, okay? But she showed me, via a third party, an amazing series of screenshots on the Twitters, as you do, from Bad Empanada. Now, don't get me wrong, we'll be watching a bit more of Bad Empanada shortly, because he debated Hassan Piker, and that might be fun or interesting, I don't know. Bad Empanda. Brilliant, well done. Well done, gringo. Here he is. Is this him? That is not him. Okay. Is it this guy? Where is... Where's the thing? I don't know. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Oh, there are loads. Jesus fucking Christ. Does anyone, if people know what I'm talking about here, there was some leaked DM stuff, sexting DM stuff from Lonerbox, which was just funny because he's like lacks any basic riz, and it's very, very funny. But I can't seem to find it on the Twitters anymore. No, I can't find it. Anyway, but it was very, very funny. Lonerbox, it turns out, got himself some Zionist female attention, let's say. I don't know if he got full Zussy or anything. I'm not sure. I can't speak to that. But, yeah, it was very, very funny. But I'll get to that if and when possible. Where are we? So, yes. This is, right, fuck's sake. Noah Samson, the YouTube breadtube, if that's even still a thing, video content creator guy, is doing I don't even know how long he's going. He's on day 4 at the moment of a streamathon fundraising charity event for UNRWA, the United Nations Relief something, I don't fucking know. Anyway, for Palestine, right? Which, you know, fair dues. And I'll put a link to the to donate there, and I'll pin that to the top of the thing, because we are using their information, not information, what's the word I'm looking for? Big words, Kev. We are using their content. So go and give generously to that if you're able to. Like, Bad Empanada's a twat, but like we watched that thing the other week about how Bad Empanada wants Hassan to be more explicitly anti-Zionist because Bad Empanada's a fucking lunatic. So for charity, they debated it out. And again, I think this could be either very funny or a little bit productive. And I'm happy with either. Should we take a look?
I always try to message.
Why is my fucking audio so
to
shit?
The room that I'm speaking to, if that makes sense. Politicians to grade politicians on a curve as well. This isn't to say that they're
What
like.
the fuck? Why? Oh, right. Fuck off. Fuck off.
I bet you thought I would only go after Ethan Klein, Hassan. I don't have the beard. It doesn't work anymore.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Streamer, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, I can hear you as well. Perfect.
Hell yeah. What up, dude?
Okay, perfect. All right.
Hassan
Wait, I
Piker.
can't see you, Noah. Is that normal?
Oh no. I'll
Nah,
turn
he's
my.
the moderator.
It's gonna be webcam. Yeah, I'm like the moderator.
Okay.
I guess I'm the debate. This is the clash of. This is.
Hassan Piker, I bet you thought that you were safe. Ethan called you
Dude.
out for being scared of me. You know, Ethan
Dude,
was
why-
very
why-
adamant. Why
I
don't you
can't-
debate Bad Empanada?
I can't believe I'm in the presence of such a monstrous tanky.
Oh, the person in the catsuit is Noah Samson, who's the one running the thing, the charity stream thing, which you should give to generously in the pinned comments. It's for Palestine and that.
Who wants the America
Rory.
empire to end? This
They're gonna
violent
ask you this one at
tanky,
TSA. They're gonna ask
This-
you about this one at TSA.
this dangerous man. I just came in here to talk to you about the dangers of platforming people with bad empanadas opinions. I think in order to balance it out, you need to have just straight Hitlerian Israel defenders on. I think that's true liberalism. That would be progress, I think.
Like one on
I
each side of
guarantee
me.
you.
Yeah.
Devil
If
and
you go
devil
to
and
well, I'm-
Right, I was going to check who sent me this. And then I realised I don't even need to check. I know it's 255. It's mental. So I didn't get my phone out in time. So could you just imagine a cute squirrel next to the bin? $255. I love you. I hope you know that. I want to hold you. What I want is a pouch, like a mama kangaroo, right? And you can climb in the pouch, and you can I'll hop around town, and you can say things about the world around you, and I would find that enormously entertaining, and it wouldn't be weird or like a furry thing at all. It'd be fine. That is all.
I'm here as a defender of the Democratic Party, specifically
We know.
Bernie S.S. Sanders.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm here to defend the Democratic Party's position because I think that they're working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire, and I think people like Bad
Everyone go and follow some random geek. Do it now.
Empanada don't understand or appreciate that Kamala Harris would have been different in
Yeah.
the way she dealt with Israel. Yeah, she would have invaded. A coalition of the willing would have been put together, and she would have invaded Tel Aviv by now. That's what I think.
I mean,
concur?
yeah, that's
Empanada?
precisely what I think you believe.
See, with
So
Bad
next-
Empanada, it's difficult to know whether he actually does believe that or not. I don't know. I honestly do not know whether he's crazy enough that he could believe that about Hassan. I don't know, because he's like, is he playing along with the joke, which is possible, but like, I don't. Am I being rude? Am I being cruel there? Hang on, I need to fucking fuck off. Right, am I being cruel there? Because like, it doesn't appear to me that he often gets the joke. I don't know if if he has autism or if he's on the spectrum or whatever. But like, he seems to me not to be able to read a room very well sometimes. It's whether, like, what he does he believe that Hassan believes that? Because that would make a lot of sense given the things he said about Hassan being too close to Zionists. As you do. As one of those prominent anti-Zionists. Yeah. Don't choke this. Right. Firstly, Maria, we're going to use our inside voice. We're not going to be fucking shouting. We're not going to be doing all caps. We're just fucking not. Okay? And secondly, I'm not chalking anything up to autism. I'm saying I don't know whether autism is a factor in the way in which he doesn't get a joke. That's got nothing to do with his opinions. I'm not saying he's autistic, therefore it's fine that he's a cunt. I'm saying he might be autistic, therefore his inability to get a joke makes a lot more sense. That's all. No need for shouting.
Next time you meet Bernie Sanders, are you gonna yell at him?
No, I'm not going to yell at him because I'm not a freak, and I'm not going to yell at.
So
I'm not going to here. If you want to have an honest conversation or a serious conversation, I had an entry point in that conversation with Bernie and AOC as well, but unfortunately they were literally late to their rally to begin with, so we didn't get to talk thoroughly about it. And I don't even know if they'll give me another interview at this point because, like, I have been very critical of their position on Israel, and I've been talking to other people in their, like other people like Faz and numerous others behind the scenes to try to get them to engage in direct action. Aside from the rallies that they're organizing, because I thought that it would be beneficial both politically and also beneficial for, you know, bringing about humanity to the politics that they represent. But it would be politically beneficial for them to organize a protest or a rally or do something around the unjustifiable detention of Mahmoud.
All right, Maria, I think I explained this, but I'll just say it again. I'm not suggesting that his neuroatypicality has anything to do with the fact that he's been anti-Semitic. This is strictly bad empanada now. I'm not referring to Hassan at all. Literally the only reason I brought it up was in connection to the fact that he doesn't seem to have a very competent sense of humour. That's not to say he can't make jokes or that he doesn't say things that are funny, albeit often very, very unintentionally. It's that he can't read a room very well. That's why I was mentioning that he seems to me to be potentially not neurotypical. But that's got nothing to do with his opinions. I wasn't mentioning it in that respect at all. So you don't need to address that point, because it wasn't a point that I ever made or intended to make. His hit piece on Owen Jones was purity policing, way too much. Nick, I don't think I've ever seen that. Have you got a link to that? Because that does sound quite funny.
Khalil, and that was actually in that 9-minute conversation that we had. That was my entry point into it. Like, I was going to talk to him about this on First Amendment grounds and basically get a better assessment, better understanding of what his position is, and to maybe even talk to him further about like why he calls it, why he consistently brings about the issue of Israel, but like only focuses on Benjamin Netanyahu, or why he doesn't call it a genocide. Because these are, I think, valid questions to ask someone like Bernie Sanders, especially because my expectation of someone like Bernie Sanders is that he's supposed to be infinitely more knowledgeable on the situation than like the average Democratic Party politician is supposed to be, given his long history of being an out and about socialist, and even sometimes like offering critical support to, with some notable exceptions like Yugoslavia, offering critical support to even, you know, revolutionary socialists or even like anti-imperialist militancy throughout his career. I wanna like, my expectation from him is someone who has been definitely more dare I say, radical, even though that doesn't really mean anything in American politics. My expectation from him at this point would be to be leading the charge of stopping all aid to Israel and issuing boycotts and divestments and threatening sanctions upon Israel. But he's nowhere near there, and I think that's very disappointing as someone who was a big fan of Bernie Sanders, despite my differences in opinion with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I was always a little bit disappointed with Bernie on guns, but I could look past that. But his stuff with Palestine is pretty fucking gross. Like, it's tepid as shit, you know?
Well, I think, as you said very well once, that Zionists should not even be allowed to be the local dog catcher. And Bernie Sanders well eclipses the point of being a Zionist by any reasonable standard, even your standard, I'm sure. AOC, I'm not exactly sure. She seems to be a lot better than him. But
I got cheesecake, bitches.
They're absolutely grooming her to be something that she probably didn't want to be initially, and it's working. So that's kind of sad. Sanders in like 2016, he did seem to be something that was genuinely inconvenient for the party, but they have well and truly tamed him at this point, and I think it's been that way for a while. I think even in 2020 it was already kind of like that, even though, you know, he did still run for the nomination. He fell into line very quickly afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I think you're mistaking a lot of like Bernie's like genuine convictions and how wrong he is with him being a machine politician. Like I
mean, he can be wrong and still help the machine in the end.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I mean, he did. He absolutely did. But I also think that Bernie Sanders is just he has this like old labor Zionist framework, I think, that is just utterly ridiculous, and that is something that he hasn't been able to shake away. But given what he has done in terms of offering support, in terms of
just normal basic ass cheesecake. I don't like things. I'm gonna side rant. This is like my cheese rant, but not quite the same. Okay, my cheese rant has an intensity to it because there's no excuse for ever putting things in cheese. No chives, no walnuts, no cranberries, nothing. Cheese works entirely on its own. If you put stuff in there, you are the fucking devil. Cheesecake. Cheesecake can work with strawberry on it. It can work with caramel on it, or toffee, or banana fudge, or whatever, right? But it works perfectly fine on its own. You don't need to have things on it. You can just have plain cheesecake, and it's fucking lovely. And that's the one I prefer, and that's what I'm having. Just plain cheesecake. Cheesecake.
Of being unafraid to endorse certain viewpoints, both on the activist front, but also on his, also in terms of the people that he endorses. It almost feels like there's a sense of shame coming from him with regards to that contradiction that he recognizes to a certain degree. Maybe it's a little too parasocial, but I mean, I guess we are making analysis about politicians, so I guess that's not all that parasocial, but like, he's the type of person who has these opinions, but also won't get in the way of more radical perspectives.
Non-binary, the fact that they've gone after one settler is ridiculous. Like, they're still arming the government that arm the settlers. So they're not actually fundamentally stopping the settling whatsoever. They're just not. They're doing nothing about the settlers whatsoever. I am a cheesecake essentialist, and I find no shame in that. I'm a cheesecake originalist.
It's like he's not. I don't think he uses any amount of time,
and just like being
in the finite amount of time
a
that
biblical
he has,
literalist,
in
or a constitutional literalist,
he doesn't use any
really
moment of that to criticize like Hamas or Hamas defenders or anything like that, and instead focuses mostly on Israel, even if his focus on Israel is not even as radical as, of course, or not even as honest. Let's not even say radical, not even as honest as Rashida Tlaib's analysis of the situation, or Ilhan Omar's analysis of the situation, or even, and I can't believe I'm saying this, AOC's analysis of the situation, who called it a genocide far before Bernie Sanders did, and if I'm not mistaken, he still has yet to call it a genocide.
Yeah, he hasn't, but I mean, I think you're very, very generous to him. I think people are very generous to American politicians who specifically get into like a position of power as Sanders has. Like this, as soon as they become like an elected official, like the standards for them just go through the floor. Like you expect almost nothing from them. And
Yeah, maybe we can get Louis Theroux to interview everyone. Get him. Just nearly fucking coughed up a bit of cheesecake. Get him to interview Benjamin Netanyahu, fucking Smotrich, and all these wankers, and then the West might take it seriously. Who knows?
and it's excuse after excuse after excuse. I think Americans, I think I've heard you say this before. I mean, I might be incorrect. I might just be misremembering. But Americans love to say, like love to frame themselves as being like in an exceptional situation that someone like me simply cannot understand. And therefore, our politicians need to be more shit. I don't think it's the politicians.
That's a misunderstanding of my analysis. My job is a communicator, as is your job, right? We're trying to make a convincing argument to get people to understand our worldview. And by the way, I don't think you and I, the reason why I always will maintain the position that your video essays are brilliant regardless of your methods or the way you present yourself online, is because I understand that you and I are on this issue and on virtually every other issue on the same side. But as a communicator, especially as a communicator...
Nationalised cheesecake, now we're fucking talking. Now, in terms of Bad Empanada's video essays, they are very, very good. It's just that he acts like a crazy, evil, racist wanker when he's not doing that. Maybe just he scripts those in a more chill mood. Maybe he has a process where he gets like really high and makes those videos and he's kind of chill about things. And then when he's online, he's just, you know, hasn't taken his meds or something.
That is in the United States of America. I understand the utter moral depravity of the average American, and I understand their lack of interest in these subjects. So in order to make a more convincing argument, I always try to message to the room that I'm speaking to, if that makes sense. And I think a part of that is also to grade politicians on a curve as well. This isn't to say that they're like doing fantastic or to defend them, but there are, as you've also presented yourself, like there are certain instances where they engage in defensible actions. Like the nuance that exists between AOC and Bernie Sanders is one that you recognize.
Like, how bad is American politics that the standard is they occasionally engage in actions that are defensible? Not even... They're okay, they're good. Just occasionally they do things that you can defend. And that's the best. That's the American left right there. Fuck me, we're so cooked as a species. We're so cooked.
As well, but if you were to ask the average person that is like against both of these people, like, you know, people that look at it and say, well, these are both politicians that exist within a bourgeois capitalist duopoly framework, they're not doing what is necessary in this situation. I apply that nuance across the board. I apply that charitability and nuance across the board to all politicians that I talk to, or all politicians that I analyze in general. Like Chris Van Hollen is a great example of this, right? He's a regular run-of-the-mill Democrat. Do I think he's a good dude? Do I think he's going to bring about like a proletarian revolution? Fuck no. But within the confines of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's return, or at least like kickstarting the conversation and getting Americans to pay attention to the immigrant detention structure that we have in the United States of America, I think what Senator Chris Van Hollen did, which was to fly to El Salvador and directly demand proof of life for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was incredibly important. Was incredibly important because it drove the media cycle. It led to more Americans finding out about this unjustifiable detention strategy that the administration is offering. So I guess basically what I'm saying is I understand the moral depravity of the average American and adjust my commentary appropriately to that, just like I understand the lack of interest from the average American politician in addressing
Moral
any of those
depravity,
issues,
yes.
and I grade them on a curve.
Okay, but the problem is,
People, by the way, are
What I
saying, no,
say
you got to
in
restart
general.
stream because you're at 12 hours. Sorry.
Does it cut the end off or the start?
I don't know.
Because if it cuts the start off, which I'm pretty sure it does, this is fine. Restarting the stream will fuck it up a little bit. But maybe not.
I don't know. Everyone is just saying restart. But you're the streamer. I've never streamed on YouTube, so I don't know. I don't know how it
Spends
works
2
on
minutes
YouTube.
Fixing the audio
the
at the
fuck
start.
streams 12 hours.
He's
Yeah, I've
never
been streaming for,
streamed on
24
YouTube.
even.
What?
Yeah, you do this 12 hours a day. What the fuck, man?
Right. I do it on Twitch. So Twitch
Now
doesn't
it looked
have
like
that.
he wanted to die within like a quarter of a Hassan Piker stream length.
To be fair,
was
I
yesterday.
ate hot chips.
He is not. I don't think he's yet called him a criminal, but I can't wait.
But
You're just so white. I mean, I am too, but
Someone said it cuts
I
the
can eat
end
hot
off.
chips.
it cuts the end. Okay, then I'm gonna restart.
Well, I don't
this.
know.
Give me 1 minute. Hello, people.
Yeah, you're live again.
We just all agreed to support each other and agree with everything that each of us say always, and we're best friends and we're moving in together and we're roommates.
Yeah.
That's
Where I'm
all.
going to the
Argentina.
Argentinian prison that you guys are streaming out of.
Jail.
You should just leave the U.S. By the way, I don't know why you don't just do that. I mean, I'm sure you have like 100 friends who you all love there, but you should just leave the U.S. It makes everything way easier. You can't get sued
No.
by Ethan Klein, for example.
Go to Israel.
No, well, I was just talking about this earlier because there was like a prominent liberal academics who study. Here's why. There was like a New York Times article on it, but it's like I'm stubborn. I'm a very stubborn person, and I feel like I'd rather stick it out. And
Also, his big house is there. Socialism is when no house. Okay.
see where it goes, rather than to leave the United States of America.
Well, I used to think that the U.S. actually was probably the best place to be because it's one of the few countries where you basically can't get arrested purely for speech, unless you're like threatening someone. But now, no, obviously not.
Yeah, no. Now it's resembling more and more Israel every day. It's wonderful. My favorite country, the most moral nation. Am Israel high?
Yeah, so I hear you're a liberal Zionist, Hassan, and I hear
Yeah.
Ben
I'm a liberal
a
Zionist.
pedophile.
But,
So
going
how do I
back to
get both
wait,
of
going
you in
back to what
trouble?
we were talking about. Going back to what
Yeah,
we were
yeah, go
talking
back,
about.
go
'cause
back, go
yeah, exactly.
what it
Like
was at
with
this
Chris
point.
Van Hollen, do you understand my perspective or like the framework that I operate off of? Like
You're
where I
saying that
make-
one individual thing that you did.
Don't try and skip it. Don't try and skip the fucking drama bait. We want to hear Bad Empanada call him a liberal Zionist again.
It was a good thing, basically.
Yeah. I don't shy away from politicians unless they're like insane. You know what I mean? Unless they're unless it's like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I guess, and I'm gonna look like a fucking clown ass. I don't shy away from.
Okay, so you're going to criticise your fucking uncle who literally just talked to literally just Marjorie Taylor Cunting Green. I wonder, does that give him access to the secret space lasers now? Because Marjorie Taylor Greene knows all about the space lasers, so presumably Cenk also now knows about the space lasers. I hope so. That'd be fun.
Giving credit to politicians and offering positive reinforcement to politicians when I feel like they're doing something that I think is appropriate, like moving the needle in the direction, because it's the same framework that I operate with within the Democratic Party, where like these are the available platforms of.
No. I don't think you can say the uncle has nothing to do with him. He has him on every fucking year for the Thanksgiving shit, and like, let's be honest, softballs the fuck out of him. So I don't think you can say, oh, he's got nothing to do with him. Cenk has been moving consistently further and further right, and Hassan has had fuck all to say about it. Pretty much. So I don't think you can say that it's not relevant at all. No, it is relevant. I think it is relevant. Like, I don't think you can hold him entirely accountable or anything like that for what his uncle does, because they are two separate human beings. But to say that they're unconnected, or that there's like no element of investment there, an investment in like a moral sense rather than financial. Although there might be financial, I don't fucking know. Yeah, I think you can still ask him to criticise in a way that he just doesn't. I did seamstress, yeah. Chenky's fucking scum. He's just scum at this point. What can I say?
Influence, and I will always go there because as long as our interests align, I have no issue going to those platforms, because at the end of the day, they are giving more legitimacy to myself than vice versa, in my opinion.
I mean, giving you legitimacy, like what's the point of that, really? What is the point of them giving you legitimacy if in the end you do kind of demonstrate support for them in many cases? That's the thing. I think people see you very much contradicted by what you said earlier. Maybe it's erroneous, but people very much see you as like a big Bernie Sanders supporter. I wouldn't say I see you as like a big Bernie Sanders supporter. I think I see you more as someone who maybe doesn't like what he says, but is a little iffy on making that clearer, which I think you sort of did just a second ago. I think you preempted everything I've said about you, and you were ready with that. It's cheating
No,
in a
I
debate,
actually
by the
have
way.
talked about this quite a bit, even before and after your statements, as a matter of fact. But you know how it is with clips. You probably don't get that from...
I mean, I do watch what you say sometimes. Like, I don't think that some such place would even exist. Like, Hassan.
Right. Firstly, I've put down a new thicker shag carpet rug on the floor, which now means I can't move the fucking chair without like standing up and physically moving the fucking chair, which is very annoying. Or doing that weird arse shuffle that I just did. So that's pretty annoying. Anyway, and secondly, you've got to love Bad Empanada thinking he's like the central character of all of this. You saw what I said about you, and you've changed your opinions based on what I said. You were prepared for that. No, I don't think he gives a fuck what you said. Question. If you're trying to get elected in a country where a majority of the population have been conditioned to believe... Oh, where the fuck has that gone? To believe some pretty heinous propaganda, do you need to pay at least some lip service to that propaganda to have any hope? I feel like what Bad Empanada is asking is just AOC and Bernie destroy their political careers. Yeah, I think that's basically the point, 255, yeah. Bad Empanada has no semblance of practicality or... what's the word I'm looking for? Nuance or whatever? I don't know. Yeah, obviously the position that this is obviously a fucking genocide, and that this is obviously wrong and bad and should fucking stop immediately, needs to be put out there. But it's the way in which you put it out there. Just saying, like, all Israelis need to be killed or whatever absurd fucking shit Bad Empanada was saying, like, that's not going to get you anywhere. In a nation that, like you say, it has been propagandized to believe awful shit. They've been propagandized into being Zionists, practically, functionally. Whether they necessarily would agree with every tenet of Zionism or whatever, that doesn't really matter. They're functionally, in terms of their support for Israel and their support for politicians who will give Israel infinite amounts of money and weapons, they are functionally speaking Zionists. So being as ludicrously offensive and just out there as he is when he wants to be, doesn't get you anywhere. There is a reason that AOC and Bernie Sanders are politically effective and he is not. You know?
Van Piker says positive thing about Bernie Sanders. Here's a 20-second clip of it. I don't know what place would that be.
but I talk for 8 hours a day. It's very hard for you to
Often more.
in any, like, unless you're watching 8 hours a day, you're probably not going to see the exact same thing that I told you just now. I've spoken about probably 25 to 35 times whenever some chatter comes in and annoys me, and then I go on a fucking long and convoluted rant about
You should stop reading your chat, by the way.
yeah, that's part of the puzzle. That's part of how I do this this back and forth. But
yeah, because look, if you're not reading and reacting to chat a little bit, then you're not really streaming. You're doing kind of radio in a way. You're doing a kind of more visual form of radio. The whole point of streaming is that there's an element of interactivity, surely. Also, doesn't this prick read his fucking chat when he's streaming? I think he does. I don't know.
Like
it's
just
difficult for
right
people to
now,
grab-
real quick.
What's up?
Like Banana, you made like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 videos talking about the AOC Bernie interview, and then I don't know how much you watch of Hassan talking about it, but like just talking to each other now and clearing that up. Do you feel like that clears up anything now that you see that he's kind of
No, not
has
really,
a-
because I think a lot of that, like there was the initial reaction of the interview, and there was like responses to people who want Hassan, responses to people like who want Hassan but were defending sort of like the whole idea of like engaging with the mainstream Democratic Party and like sort of trying to pull people to your side from them and stuff like that. And yeah, that was basically the whole thing there. It wasn't so much like I said something, Hassan said something, and I responded to it. It was more like that. What I would say is that Americans are way too optimistic with their former politicians. And if there is something that you should preach, it's that these people are ultimately fucking useless, and you're gonna have to do shit yourself.
Yeah,
So what does that look like?
here's the thing. I
Heard of
I
Mario's
understand.
brother?
What?
Sorry, go ahead, Hassan.
No, I understand that, like
Mario's... Oh, okay, I get that. Okay. So that's, I mean, just, you know, casual reference to potential murder. Which would never happen on my channel. You know it would never happen.
So the
on my channel.
IHRA
Jewish exceptionalism, liberal Zionism, Jewish supremacy, how you inadvertently support Israel.
definition of anti-Semitism is designed to nip actual objective discussion surrounding the reality of Zionism and Israel in the bud. Why? Well, because Israel is Jewish, that's why. So, it's anti-Semitic to ask such questions about it. How dare you even think about doing so? This sort of thing would be laughed out of the room in any other similar circumstance, and it's only due to the framework of Jewish exceptionalism. The exact opposite is the case. It's actually been taken deadly seriously by many Western governments and institutions, to the point they've adopted the IHRA definition word for word, including in
What's this got to do with...
some cases by codifying it into law, like in Argentina. So that's 2 examples of really blatant Jewish exceptionalism from the more overt pro-Israel side. But they're not the only ones who abide by the framework at all. Jewish exceptionalism is, after all, very normalized in Western society, so it's also pervasive among many people who conceive of themselves as being pro-Palestinian. They often, for example, abide by its tenets, treating Jewish people as if they are a special exception, acting like the pro-Palestinian movement should cater to them specifically. An extremely curious notion, given that Palestinians are oppressed by a Jewish supremacist state. So it wouldn't seem to make much logical sense for a movement against said state to cater to Jews rather than Palestinians. The quintessential example of this is the British political commentator
what the
Owen Jones.
fuck?
Jones has appeared regularly in the mainstream media as one of their chosen voices to represent the Palestinian side for more than a decade. This prominence is a result of the fact that he has always been very diligent in staying within and propagating the confines that they allow. That is, liberal Zionism as the acceptable limit of pro-Palestinian speech, and Jewish exceptionalism as the framework which upholds this.
What the fuck are you talking about, you mad cunt? What are you Oh my god.
They allow him to deny the genocide in Gaza or being against the occupation of the West Bank, but not what Israel is. So he avoids as much as possible critiquing its underlying Zionist ideology.
Oh, go away, mate. Literally just go the fuck away. What a cunt. What a useless cunt.
The modern Democratic Party is entirely useless. The Democratic Party is well, it's not entirely useless. They can be put to good use on select issues or across the board. Maybe one day it could, in a totally idealistic world, they could be a functional working labor party. Obviously, we're not there, and we might never get there, and I don't disagree with that. But this is, I just wanted to offer clarity on the framework.
See, this is what Bad Empanada does, because he's a crazy cunt. Is unless you agree with him 100%, you're just like the rest of them. Like, imagine purity testing mixed in with, like, the mindset of a crack addict. That's the kind of thing we're looking at with Bad Empanada.
Framework that I operate off of, because I think that you and I both will recognize that Americans don't have a semblance of class consciousness.
True.
And I feel like at this stage, the most important thing you can do is to pull people back from reactionary discourse, pull people back from reactionary ideals. And the best possible way to do that is by constantly reasserting the position over and over again that...
Yeah, sorry, hashtag not all crack addicts. No, that's true. I don't want to be unfair.
The Democratic Party has to have a class first politics, and also that you know, these people that have been targeted as like vulnerable populations, marginalized identities that are presented as your enemy are not actually your enemy at all. It's simply a red herring, a distraction that the reactionary forces uses, and the Democrats are wholly incompetent at dealing with, because they don't have this class first politic.
Okay, first thing here is that the whole reason why you have this idea that you have to, like, you're sort of stuck into working with the Democratic Party, it's not your fault, obviously, because you aren't every single person in the fucking United States of America, but this is sort of like a self-perpetuating circular logic. And I mean, I'm not blaming you for having, every American has it. It's like, we have to work within the Democratic Party because it's the only thing that's there. And then you do not do anything, or you don't build an alternative to that, and you just keep reinforcing the initial premise over and over again. So Americans are stuck in this sort of rut where it seems like it's completely unrealistic to ever challenge the two-party system, so they don't try. And this is just sort of a self-perpetuating cycle. Because doing something like that takes a long time. It takes a...
See, this is the thing, right? I know for damn sure that this prick is not building anything else outside of this power structure of... I think it's Argentina he lives in. I don't fucking know. It doesn't really matter. Because that's... The people who say that, the people who make a point of having to point this out all the time, often themselves aren't doing that either. They're just trying to dress up their holier-than-thou nihilism as something worthwhile. And it isn't. In fact, it's a betrayal of the very people they claim to be defending. It's embarrassing and fucking disgusting. Anyway. I don't think Hassan is saying that electoralism gets you all the way there. There is a difference between electoralism and voting. And I think leftists need to try and understand this, because they, unfortunately, we don't have a great track record with this. There's a difference between thinking that involving yourself in the regular political structure can get you socialism, because I don't think it can. I think I've made this point to No Justice in the past. The system itself is set up to stop socialism from occurring, amongst other things. But, you know, it's one of the core underlying tenets of certainly capitalist liberal democracy. So you're not going to get all the way there. But that doesn't mean that you can't vote and force pressure concessions from governments that at the very least ease the pain of living now. Right? You need to be able to see that difference, because if you don't, you end up in this kind of doomer bullshit that Bad Empanada is in. Where, well, what's the point in voting for Bernie Sanders? He doesn't believe exactly what I believe, so he might as well be George Bush, or Trump, or whoever. Which, of course, is fucking absurd. Joe Biden, for as insipid and genocide-supporting as he was, did one or two decent things. That's it. Right? It's possible to get concessions out of even the most milquetoast shithouse fucking cancer victims. He does have cancer, and that is funny.
It's a lot of effort, takes a lot of people. But this whole Democratic Party upright, people like Bernie Sanders as well, very much reinforce this, even if perhaps at some point he didn't mean to. Perhaps at some point he was really genuinely trying to challenge the status quo, and he only joined the Democratic Party because he thought he had to win the primaries. It was the only possible way. You know, as an independent, he had no chance. He probably didn't in that moment. But then there's also the fact that that logic gets you into this rut where you never ever try to do anything else. And there are many other countries where that had very strong two-party systems that in some cases lasted for like hundreds of years. The two-party system in the USA is younger than in some of those countries.
Maria, I'm going to give you a final warning, and this is genuinely a final warning. Stop with the fucking caps locks. Okay? I'm not fucking doing this all night. Secondly, at what point did I say that Joe Biden was worse than Trump? Because I didn't say that. I also didn't say anything about COVID boosters. In fact, I was being, in a very underhanded way, slightly complimentary about the man. In that he did some things that were okay. Like, there were some things like the IRA. Massive fan of the Inflation Reduction Act. Huge fan of the IRA. We've been through this before. The Inflation Reduction Act is good. Amongst other things. I just wanted to do that joke again. Yeah, so like there are things that voting for stuff can improve. Does anyone else think Bad Empanada kind of looks like when a gawky nerdy white guy converts to radical Islam and has to grow a beard? Little bit. Although I do kind of get that vibe from me sometimes. I catch myself in the mirror and go, yeah, I do look like the white guy. Like when there's when you see the shots of like Muslim guys praying in like the street or something, and it's like lots and lots of brown guys, and then there's that one white guy, often with like ginger hair, or like he'll be bald with a ginger beard, and you can tell like it's just a fucking white guy, right? He's the convert guy, and I think like that kind of does look a bit like me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, come the race war, I definitely pass as white, but if necessary, I can claim to be a convert and be like, no, inshallah, brothers, I reckon it worked. I can probably play both sides. Double coverage,
Countries that broke it. And they very slowly worked from the ground up, like starting with local politics, building up to like the state level, building up to like the national level, building alternative structures, using the political capital they got from that. Not
saying you can't be angry, Maria, but just be respectful of other people around. No fucking caps locks, that's all. Be angry, sure, fucking absolutely.
For president, nothing else, like the fucking Green Party or something. What a fucking joke that is. Like, they do nothing but run for the main office. But what I mean is, like, you have to start small. You have to build up from that until you can eventually challenge on the main stage. Now, the issue of this logic from me now is that it's too late. Honestly, I'm not sure that we have time for this sort of thing before the consequences of climate change basically take over the agenda entirely, and whatever political system.
Yeah, there are some non-white people who are ginger, but I'm talking about the white guy who's a ginger, who's the obvious convert guy, like that guy.
Then we're trying to get into in this way just totally breaks down.
I'm not. So, just to clarify, I'm not a Muslim. either by familial or self-imposed. No. But I'm just saying, like, if I need to be, if the Muslimics do take over, I reckon I can get away with it. I've got the look, you know.
I mean, I guess people should still do it, but what I'm trying to say is Americans have like this circular logic, and that it very much serves the Democratic Party as well. It is so good for them, and I think that by sort of
we need to radicalize the moderates,
like Bernie Sanders, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, irrespective of who they are.
You didn't need to put the fucking spice on it. Listen to how he pronounces Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Just
with people like Bernie Sanders.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Like, yeah, we get it. You speak Spanish, mate. Chill the fuck out.
Irrespective of who they are, as individuals, of whether they are genuine or not genuine, and whether they are great people or not, whether they truly believe in some of the shit stuff that they perhaps forced into advocating for just to stay in line with the Democratic Party, all of that doesn't really matter, because ultimately what they do is they serve this purpose where they give people this idea that you have your voice in the party. You have your voice here in the party already. AOC is there for you. Bernie is there for you. They're already fighting for you. You don't have to do that much yourself. You know, maybe you can go to the protest yourself. Maybe you can do something like that. But by golly, you do not try to make your own party. You don't try to do something independently. You don't try to like build
Phantom.
An apparatus entirely independent of the party.
Have souls? I don't
not
know.
like the DSA, but entirely independent of it, where you actually build it into something.
Didn't he become a communist copper cab in the end? Did he stick with that? I'm not sure. Is he still going? I don't know. He does still exist, and he is still posting. Good God.
Ladies and gentlemen,
he was a communist at one point.
Victory is ours!
Oh, God. Homeless in England? What the fuck? Oh God, he's got weird. A message for Belle Delphine.
Hi, bitch! How are you doing? Bella? Belle Delphine? Ding! Belle Delphine. Listen, sweetie, okay? I've got no problem with you being back. You understand? Have no problem with it. But when you left, things kind of, well, they changed. You see, you left the void, and we felt it, sweetie. Now, listen. I want to get one thing straight. I have no fucking problem with Belle Delphine! But you need to understand something. This koi pond is not big enough for the both of us. And I'm a beta fish, sweet.
What the fuck is... he doesn't have a soul. That one ginger definitely doesn't.
Something that can meaningfully threaten them and the two-party system.
I don't know what that was.
Meaningfully start putting pressure on your government to actually really do something internationally as well. And Americans have really failed at that more so than any people in the world, which is, I think, like people say like the US is the belly of the beast, it's hard to do this. I don't think that's true at all. For one, until Trump, the US had the best free speech laws in the entire world, pretty much. You can say basically anything. You could support Hamas. It doesn't matter.
True.
Like,
hello, Robo.
that's a great
Welcome
environment for that sort of thing. It's a really good environment for that sort of thing, if anything. Obviously,
I am judging
the
his
electoral
king,
college
yes.
is fucked.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes it a lot
Everybody
harder.
liked the stream.
But
like
I
the
mean,
stream and donate.
Americans never even really tried to get to the steps before that, which is like the Senate and Congress, where those things are less.
I don't know if he's transphobic. It's possible. I don't know.
Bad.
I know he doesn't like Gavin McInnes,
I feel
and
like
that's it.
there is absolutely a fake.
Which, like, I mean, if he doesn't like Gavin McInnes, that means he's got a chance, right? Like, he could be an acceptable person, but I don't know what the fuck that video was, and I don't want to look into it. I think we're all just gonna pretend that didn't happen. It's probably for the best.
Failure in the US for whatever reason, you know, obviously people like, and fucking Twitter Marxists would tell you that's just the way it is. You know, it's a bourgeois controlled political system, whatever. But whatever the reason is, the US is the country, and the people of the US have the most power.
The USicans.
Politically, as a bloc of anyone in the world, to get shit done for people in other countries. But paradoxically, they do nothing. And
I by the way, I agree with everything that you said, and it is also a part of my vision. That's why I talked about class consciousness and instilling class consciousness, and also working on building movements outside of the party, and not like you know, community organizing, even though that can be valuable as well, but specifically labor unions and building a network of pressure that could actually that actually creates maybe even down the line a third party. I'm not against this at all. And this is not something that
I don't know what he's going to say here, but I'm going to guess that Bad Empanada thinks that trade unions just operate within the capitalist structure anyway, and they've been reabsorbed by the capitalist superstate, and therefore they're shit, and you shouldn't bother. But we should build power structures outside of the two parties, but just not the trade unions, because that's not quite good enough for me. What a fucking anus, honest to God. Why have you fallen over light, you prick? Honestly, I'm gonna fucking stab you up, bro.
I don't think in opposition to, with the exception of what you just mentioned, the Green Party, obviously, because I think the Green Party is, they're jokesters who only come around every 4 years. I mean, I think this is yet another point of, it's just another point of like not knowing the full scope of my perspective on this.
No, like I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to argue with a clip of you or something. I'm talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm telling you, like, I agree with you completely, and that's a part of my framework.
In what I was responding to there was what you said about making the Democratic Party more class conscious specifically. I think
yeah, I think that's impossible. It's virtually impossible. That's why I said it would happen only in an idealistic society. But my goal is to use the platform that I have and expand on it so that I can, once again, move people away from reactionary politics and help them focus on a class first politics. And wherever that goes, if there is a mechanism that can push the Democratic Party into actual submission to class first politics, then that's great. If that doesn't work and there's an alternative, if there's an alternative third party out there, the only way that they will reach viability if it's backed by a strong labor movement that actually engages in labor militancy. And even then, I'm not entirely confident that like this can happen.
Yeah, don't try and engage Bad Empanada. It's a little bit like trying to have it's like trying to have an argument with a crackhead. Like, it's literally just as worthwhile. And you're as likely to change their mind, and they're as likely to make a coherent fucking worthwhile point. Just don't bother. He's a fucking loony.
Happen in the United States of America. But the reason why I speak on my perspective in the way that I do is because I'm speaking to Americans. And unfortunately, you got to make a lot of burger analogies if you want to get Americans on board. You have to give them hamburgers. Americans are either repulsed by what they perceive to be left politics. I'm not even talking about like revolutionary socialism. I'm talking straight up like basic bare minimum social democratic functions that are afforded by every other comparable OECD state is seen as a pejorative in this country. That's why people say like Nancy Pelosi's the worst thing imaginable. She's a socialist.
Right.
Like obviously that kind of stuff. Perspective on this stuff, consider, and this is the imperial core, and therefore most of our working class is just either completely oblivious to class politics in and of itself, and utterly confused by the notion of class consciousness, or they're incredibly angry at even the thought of it. Like, they are repulsed by it. They get mad about it, which is why I have to temper my commentary on this front.
Well, I think you got to be careful with this notion of class politics in the US, and for a completely different reason to what you said as well, because there is an element to the present system where Americans benefit greatly from doing things to other countries, or they could at least. You know, they in many ways they don't, because Americans are too dumb to even advocate for getting their own fair share from imperialism. But
I talk about that all the time too. Yeah.
There's two options here, which is like
to be fair, there's never been an imperialist country that wasn't the case. Look at all of the great empires of the past. They had peasants, or people who lived in extreme poverty, you know. Look at the slums of London during the height of the British Empire. Look at the slums of France during the French empires. Look at the huge numbers of poor people in ancient Rome or ancient Greece. That's not a new thing.
You can appeal to Americans as in, like, I'm going to get you a bigger share. That's Bernie Sanders. I'm going to get you a bigger share of the spoils.
Yeah.
Or you could appeal to Americans in a way where, like, they perhaps see beyond national lines and understand themselves as part of a broader whole of the world.
Brilliant. You're a master. You're a genius. So you've admitted that there's no class consciousness whatsoever in the United States. Cool. So your argument is, don't bother trying to build that through anything whatsoever, apparently. Just get them to care about the people of Africa. Which they'll definitely do. Somehow. Yeah, brilliant. So they don't even understand basics of any kind of class structure. And yet they're going to understand about the exploitative nature of the imperial core. You're a fucking twat, mate.
And I think what you were talking about the union, for example, the average American labor union is like, it's basically like I wouldn't even call it a union, like in terms of like
Grace calls
sort of things that you could
them
imagine.
pig unions, which is not like cop unions, but like corporate unions, or unions that are completely servile to the interests of the Democratic Party under the AFL-CIO.
Not even just that. Like, unions are themselves, in general, obviously narrowly focus on the interests of their members.
Brilliant. Honestly, the Kev Stradamus strikes again. Kev Stradamus. What did I say? What did I fucking say, people? This man is not worth listening to, in all honesty. The man's such a fucking clown. Trade unions are just shit in general. Not even just that they're capitalists. They're just shit. So, what power structure outside of the two-party system? Please tell us, oh soothsayer, oh wise one at the top of the mountain, bad empanada, the genius, the super big-brained boy. Tell us, what power structures outside of the two parties, and clearly outside of the trade unions, what is it okay for us to build? Because, I mean, you're not going to fucking do it, you lazy cunt. So what is it that working class people could produce that would meet your very exacting standards? What do you want us to do? Please tell us. Because clearly you're the wisest amongst us, and the most pure and bestest. So, what is it? What dual power structures can we possibly fucking build that would meet your intellectual threshold?
Get the fuck, they came not play me all these mutants.
Very nicely timed. Hello there, Tina, too. We were talking about you earlier, Tina. Did you have the link? By the way, Tina, if you've not already raided out, just wait a second. Have you got the link to the Zussi bits from earlier, the link to the Twitter for that, because I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it. The loner box and his let's say attempts at a wooing, because it was very funny. I couldn't fucking find it though. Yes, hold on. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll take a look at that, because it is honestly, Loner Box trying to get his Riz on is genuinely one of the saddest things I've ever seen. What is this? People on Twitter will really be like, "You believe in voting? That pales into ineffectiveness to my strategy of firebombing a Walmart and then not firebomb a Walmart." Yeah, exactly. That's basically it. Yeah. Because you'll notice, Bad Empanada literally made a kind of funny allusion there to Mario's brother. So basically, he was suggesting that, like Luigi Mangione, you should shoot a CEO, which, like, it, you know, is a thing that he said that I didn't say. But you'll notice he hasn't done it.
We got him. Victory is ours.
He hasn't gone and shot a CEO. So he thinks it's based and awesome to shoot a CEO dead, and yet he hasn't gone and done it himself, even though apparently that's the only way outside of the two-power structure that he has so far mentioned that he thinks is good enough. Cool. Hello there, Mad GTV. Welcome to the Kevolution, friend. By the way, everyone go and follow Tina too, naturally. And if you're new here, you can hit the follow button. It's literally free, and it makes you 7.8% sexier. Oh God, look at this. Look at this. So Loner Box, in addition to whatever weird fucking IDF money the prick gets, has gotten himself a Zionist boo, so to speak. And thank you, Tina, for dropping this on us, like a pigeon would drop onto If you've just eaten, you're about to see that food again. Okay. This is Loner Box. What are you wearing? What are you wearing? I'm wearing white undies and a Doors t-shirt. Not really sure people wear briefs here. What are you wearing? What are you wearing right now? What are you wearing? It's a little bit Dude, Where's My Car at the minute. Sweet! What does my one say? Dude! What does my one say? Sweet! Anyway, it gets on to this. This person says, "Where will you come? In my fantasy, you fill my pussy with your cum and watch it drip out." Okay. To which Lonerbox says, "I'd do that." Oh, God. Look, I'm just going to put this out there now, right? Hashtag not all British lads. We're not all this risn't, so to speak. Kosher Katie, I'm sure I've seen this name before. I don't know who the fuck this person is, but they're like some fucking weirdo Zionist creature. I don't know who the fuck they are. Anyway, but they're offering up their Zussi for a cream pie, apparently. I mean, you can do better, is all I'm going to say. Okay. She says, "Oh, question mark." To which Lonerbox responds, "If you were bending over my chair, I'd grab your ass and pull you into me as I did it. Now, the word into raises one or two issues there. Of ergonomics, first and foremost. Like literally the dynamics of that, how that would work. And secondly, did he mean onto? I think he meant onto. Read the timestamps. Why? What are the timestamps about? 2:35 p.m., 2:35 to 36:37, 38. What's the issue with the timestamps that I'm not seeing? Well, just that it's in the middle of the day. Anyway, does he mean onto? Like I'll pull you onto me, as in onto my dick, onto my pale Scottish dick. God almighty. Or does he mean into? I'm fine with it. If he's into pegging, if he's a bottom, that's absolutely fine. But, you know. Did autocorrect do him dirty there? Did autocorrect fuck him up there a little bit? I don't know. You'd hold my hips tight. I like a good cream pie, to be honest. Fuck. It's like poetry, people. It's like Byron came back to life, infused Loner Box with and then died again out of fucking shame. I mean, who amongst us doesn't like a good cream pie, is what I would ask. Oh God! Look, the thing is, we've all had these situations where you've flirted in, let's say, a less than glamorous fashion, and neither of the people involved in this come out of it looking probably as they intended. I'm just glad mine don't get leaked. Because mine are probably as bad as this, to be honest. So hashtag yes, all British lads, probably, to be honest. But I'd do that. Oh no. I like a good cream pie. What classifies as a good cream pie as opposed to like a bad or middling cream pie? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what your parameters are for that, really. Oh, God. What Americans think British guys are like. Well, don't show them this. Don't show Americans what we're actually like. Good God. A gushy one. Hey, Tina, you cannot have a go at Zussy and then come out with a gushy one as a piece of descriptive art. Can someone ban Tina 2 from this chat with her smut? We're a good, clean family show here. Cream pie is less than cheesecake. Oh, you don't want a cheesecake situation. That'd be terrible. Anyway, thank you, Tina. Thank you for derailing us in an amusing fashion. Much love. Everyone follow Tina too.
So that's why you get things like the American Big Tent labor unions being like, oh, like, let's get the Lockheed Martin float at a parade or whatever. A huge victory for the Lockheed.
You're mixing and matching a couple different things, but yes, I know what you mean. Of course. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying here is that what you were going on about there was about class politics in the USA. I need to get people on board with this idea.
Maria, how is it not anti-Semitic to imply that Lonerbox is being controlled because he flirted with a girl with kosher in her username? I wasn't suggesting he was being controlled through that. I was suggesting he was being controlled through, like, IDF money. The pussy, I'm sure, is just an extra. Like, I wasn't suggesting that she had some fucking, like, a mind control vag or something. Like, it's just funny. It's just very funny that he's so bad at flirting. Which, like, right, okay. Oh, BE was implying that. Oh, sorry, okay, I misunderstood you. Well, if he was, and hang on, fuck. What was I didn't even read his fucking message. What did Bad Empanada write on the thing? No, there we go. You might ask what motivates Lonerbox to be such a shill for child murder and genocide. The answer is simple. Israel bribed him with Zionist sexting partners such as Kosher Kato. Okay, yeah, that is anti-Semitic. To be fair, I would argue that is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah,
we got victory.
I didn't even read that. I was too busy looking at the I love a good cream pie. I want you to come in my pussy. I do that. You've got to understand. I am like a fly to shit when it comes to laughing at dickheads talking about cream pies. Okay, I'm like a fly to the light. I know it's going to bzz and kill me, right? But it's so pretty, I can't not fly towards it. So I didn't even see what Bad Empanada put. His weird fucking anti-Semitic bullshit is whatever, right? I missed that entirely. I was focusing on I do that. Because that's fucking hilarious. Like, demonstrably. You don't even have to, like, explain that. That's just funny. That's just amusing to me. And to, frankly, any human being. In all honesty, I think even Zionists would find that funny. Whereas what Bad Empanada said was fucking dumb. Yeah, mind control minge is not a thing. That doesn't happen. Not to say people can't be like honey potted and stuff, but I don't think that's what is happening on this occasion. Anyway, what was the... thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to Tina_2, whoever the fuck that is. I don't know who that is. Thank you, SJ Parish, for following. Welcome to the Kevolution. Don't forget you can give me money on both of the platforms, here on Twitch and on YouTube, to help support this amazing cream pie stream. Yummy! Can we do the thing where we call athletes and... do with athletes and call Lonerbox Scottish instead of British when he's embarrassing us? Yeah, Lonerbox is very much like the curling team, right? The curling team, they're Scottish, outside of the Olympics, and then with the Olympics they have to compete as Great Britain, and they're the only reason we ever win any fucking Olympic medals is because the women's curling team is very good at sliding stones on some ice. That's a sport. And we win things. And when I say we, I mean the Scottish ladies do. Yeah. And right now you're not being very Scottish ladies curling team, Bad Empanada. Not Bad Empanada. Lonerbox. Like the Andy Murray of the internet. Fuck yeah, what a lovely reference point, yeah. Yeah, very Andy Murray.
Yeah, that socialism isn't bad. I think you're looking far too much into the future with that rhetoric, because I'm not even thinking about fucking socialism right now, and people think I'm like a radical communist terrorist. Like, I'm not thinking about any of that shit right now. There's so many more immediate concerns that we have to work with, the systems that we have now. Ultimately, I have no faith in Americans of ever doing anything, unfortunately. Like, if you ask me what...
So, like, why do you even give a fuck then? If you don't think they can ever achieve anything, why are you telling them to try and achieve anything? If you literally don't think it's possible, why are you bothering? Why would you waste your fucking time? Stream pie. I do love a good stream pie. I do that.
Solutions? I don't have solutions for you. I would have fought would cause like a Vietnam level like cultural like schism in the US. It hasn't actually caused it anywhere, not even in Europe where places
it took 20 years. And also there was direct involvement with Americans actually going there to fight, which I think is the reason why there was a lot more resistance. Americans are inherently very selfish people, and until they're drawn into the fight themselves in a way that is more meaningful with a draft, not just like the poverty draft, or not just necessarily like a bunch of people that want to get a communications degree for free going out there and getting their dicks blown off while defending some fucking poppy field in the Karengal Valley, but like literally a draft. Only then will selfish Americans actually get up to aggressively protest in a militant fashion in a way that would truly harm the overall interests of the American State Department.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It's the whole thing. It's the whole reason why we're in the place where we're in. The U.S. does not have a rival anymore who it needs to compete with that much in terms of geopolitics. China, I mean,
China.
I don't know what your stance is on China, but China doesn't do shit. China doesn't want to do shit. China just wants to mind its own business, and that is a huge problem, really. If China tried to do something meaningful regarding what's happening in Gaza, it would probably happen. They would be able to do something about it very easily.
I talked about this just yesterday. I 100% agree. There was like a fake TikTok of like Americans dropping in aid that actually killed Palestinians, ironically enough. But they were literally recycling the American aid being dropped into Gaza, but this time like saying China was doing it. And they were like, oh my God, how wonderful that China's dropping aid into Gaza. And one, that was fake. China didn't do that. But two, if China wanted to, it's Israel's second largest trading partner. They could literally fucking say, hey, we are going to bring in our military and our NGOs to distribute aid on the Gaza Strip. What is Israel going to do? Say no to that? They can't fucking do that.
China could do way fucking more than that. Like we saw with the tariff shit, how quickly Trump folded in the face of actual economic consequences from China. They could do something like that to the US if they wanted to. They could do it to Israel. Obviously, it would come at some sort of cost to themselves, but Trump would fold in 2 fucking seconds if China was like, hey, we're going to sanction Israel, or we're going to put tariffs on American goods or something like that. We're going to make your shit cost more. But
that's Noah doing that. I don't know why that noise is happening.
China does not do that. Yeah. And the USSR was in a position, it wasn't in an economic position, but it was in like a military position and a geopolitical position where it could put a ton of pressure on. So now we have a situation in the world today where the US it's not totally uncontested, but it is way, way more uncontested than it ever has been before. And we're looking at that in Gaza right now.
No, I don't think that's true. I think after the fall of the Soviet Union, it faced literally no opposition. Whereas, as you've just pointed out, China does have some leverage in this situation in a way it didn't in 1992. You know? So I don't think that's really true either.
Now, and I can't tell you what to do about it at all. I can tell you what individuals could do. It would get me banned, so I'm not going to. Yeah. But still, even if we all did that, I don't think it would change that much in the grand scheme of things.
I would be interested to hear what is... Let's be honest, illegal. It's not just terms of service. What his illegal stratagem is. And how many people would die. And what religion those people would be. Just a thought.
I don't disagree with you on anything. And also, like I said, this is the exact same shit that I say on my stream for the most part. I'll take it one step further. As far as like China's lack of interest in undermining American footholds in its own backyard in the Philippines. I feel like if China operated in the same way as like America did, or even the fucking USSR did for that matter, they could just like arm the Philippine Maoists instead of working with the Duterte government as they did to disarm them and to actively work against them. That's a real destabilizing force in the country. and China doesn't even use it. Instead, they're just doing water spraying operations with their Coast Guard while simultaneously trying to set up an ASEAN security partnership where the Philippines are the only fucking party that refuses to sign on. Why do they refuse to sign on? Because they're comfortable being a unsinkable aircraft carrier for the United States of America. So they, like, I'm not, you know, I live in America, you live in Argentina, as far as I know. So obviously I'm not going to sit here and be like, Xi Jinping should do this, but that is my assessment. But clearly whatever they're doing has worked so far, at least in terms of like positioning China as a global hegemonic power. But yes, I do recognize that they're being self-interested to a degree where no one seems to care about doing anything to stop the Nazi Israel government from conducting its live streamed child Holocaust.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately.
Yeah, just to repeat, Israel is starving 14,000 babies to death right now. That's happening now.
It's just materialism in the end. China is extremely good at using the global system that the US set up, so why would they want to challenge it? That's how it is with everything. The Arab states, half of them are US puppets, the other half, they would probably get annihilated if they tried to do anything uncoordinated without
China
the US puppet states helping them. In many other cases, like, I feel like Israel has become something of an inconvenience for its allies at this point. But they're sort of too far in to really do anything about it at this, like, you know, it's been like 50, 60, 70 years of nothing but full support for Israel. So at this point, you know, what are they going to do, especially given that they...
Yeah, Galloway's a prick as well, yeah. Yeah. By the way, everyone go and follow Mad Cat Scotty on the on Twitch.
Would have to be, like, the US would have to be the one to really pull the plug, and that's not going to fucking do it, is it? So, I mean, it's probably like the bleakest situation that I could imagine right now.
Yeah, no, I will agree there, absolutely.
Obviously, like, Americans theoretically, as a block of people, like average Americans, have a decent amount of power.
I will say I agree with Bad Empanada on that. It's fucking awful. It's so blackpilling, because, like, what the fuck do you even do? What do you even do?
To challenge this, but they also themselves have no real reason, no real motivation for doing so, because ultimately, you know, what you said about Vietnam probably rings true. It does not affect them that much. It affects some of them psychologically, and that is about it. They don't see any material consequences from it. You know, there has not been like a massive adverse reaction that could turn them against it. Like, for example, like the IRA, for example, did a lot to like instill like fatigue in the British public on their government to try and look for some sort of solution to the troubles.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that.
Stop it.
There's nothing like it.
Get some help.
Not at all.
Well,
thank you to... Oh my word. Carapobs. That's almost certainly not how that's pronounced. Anyway, thank you for subscribing. Much love to you. God bless America, the land of... I don't love America. You know who I love? I love my chat.
There's no situation historically that has existed where the captive population has been this thoroughly, at least in contemporary history that I can think of, where the captive population has been this thoroughly ethnically cleansed in broad daylight without any sort of material support to offer from other countries, right? Like, you have no Cuban example, you have no USSR example, and the role that they might have played in the ANC's efforts to resist against the apartheid structure in South Africa.
Talking about that, as we were or something. I don't know. One thing I did just want to bring up. Yes, the death of Ernest Rodka. Rest in peace. Rest in power. A man I didn't personally know but knew of. A very brave and noble human being. Unfortunately passed, albeit at a very decent age. He lived a life. He was incredible man. He was literally at the founding of the CND, which is the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament here in the UK. He was at their founding meeting in 1958, which is fucking dope and shows you how fucking old he was. And then he was arrested trying to stop the British and Irish Lions rugby union team going to apartheid South Africa. They literally formed like a human chain to stop the bus from leaving. To go to the airport to fly to go to apartheid South Africa, and he and two other people were convicted of that, and then they fought it, and 50 years later, 50 fucking years later, in like 2022 or whatever the fuck it was, 21 or whatever, they finally got the fucking conviction overturned. It was amazing bravery and power, like a genuine fucking legend. Albeit one that didn't receive anywhere near the amount of coverage as he should have done in his lifetime, but whatever. He made a difference in the world and fought the good fight for fucking decade upon decade, and God bless him. So yeah, rest in power, Ernest Rodka. Much love to you.
And you certainly don't have American congresspersons doing arms trafficking to Hamas in the way that they did to the IRA. You had American conservative politicians of Irish background doing arms shipments to the IRA at a certain point. You could fundraise for the IRA in American bars, right? So
yeah,
very, very different set of circumstances.
Literally, that entire conflict was like funded by either money from Britain or money from America. Huge amounts of money was raised for the cause and was then spent on weapons and bombs and stuff. And you know what stopped that? Cheeky bit of 9/11. Yeah. All of a sudden funding terrorist groups. American government didn't like it anymore. Crazy. Why are you showing literally Hitler on screen again? Yeah, well, true, yeah.
Is here, and this coming also after the expanded surveillance state in the aftermath of the war on terror, with a shit ton of social conditioning that Americans totally signed off on, in terms of like Muslims and Arabs being...
Oh, that's fucking wild. I went to Florida in 1987, year I was born, and saw a full-page advertisement in the local newspaper for the Irish Republican Army. What, like a fucking recruitment ad? Or like a fundraising bit, or what? Fucking hell, that's wild. God damn it. Well, it's Florida, you know, what can you expect?
Worthy of only death and destruction, and they're all, you know, rapists.
You can't spell Florida without I, R, and A. That is literally true. All of those letters are in the name. Fact.
Barbaric hordes. They're all ISIS. This kind of attitude is reflected broadly in American society, or in Western society in general. But that's the silver lining that I see, because in spite of all of that, I think there's only so much dead children that the average Americans can look at and go, this is completely unacceptable. Like, this is fucked up.
No, Miss Hire, this is not a Tanky Tuesday. Otherwise, you know, I'd put Tanky Tuesday in the title, and I haven't put Tanky Tuesday in the title. So
now, you're not wrong when you say there's not enough mobilization happening. People are not fucking shit up in an effort to make
it was
this
a fundraiser. It was a fundraiser. It said, don't ditch the IRA. Up the Ra, Nigel.
Undying allegiance to Israel costly. And you're not wrong on that. But I do think that given how much the public sentiment has shifted in such a short period of time, even though it was incredibly costly in terms of the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians at this point, even though the numbers say, 63,000. I think that's a severe undercount. There is still, I think that there is still always, like, it's something that I will always push for, regardless of how hopeless I feel, is to mobilize Americans.
You can try your best. It is absolutely true that in an ideal world, like, the number one way to fight this would be to mobilize people in the US, Europe, Australia, Canada, these places which are Israel's primary backers.
Israel is not Israel. Australia isn't even real, so I don't know why you're adding Australia into that. That's no. We don't need Australia. I'm getting ready for the Ashes, okay? I'm priming myself.
And, many of us have mobilized. Many people have tried to do stuff, protested and stuff. But clearly, these governments are immune to this sort of pressure at this point. They don't give a shit about it. Like
You're welcome, Dr. Phil. You're welcome.
Really, almost nothing has really changed. Like, Israel is literally under investigation for genocide at the ICJ, for example. I would say at this point they are probably actually going to, it's going to be ruled against them. They're actually going to be found to have committed genocide in Gaza, and that is a huge fucking deal for a UN court, because they've done nothing to convince the court that they aren't doing that, ever since the case started. But I mean, I might be wrong there, because it is still a UN court. It's still a court that is ultimately run.
Is that the court where the South Africans brought literally Hitler? Literally Hitler to the court. Unbelievable. So anti-Semitisms. Much jam. Anyway, speaking of Hitler, I'm going to be on with Curtis tomorrow, because I'm not saying Curtis is Hitler, but he has that bit with Jeremy Corbyn at the end. So I'm going to be doing Normal Island tomorrow with Curtis and possibly Hitler. I don't know. Hitler's all separately.
By the US and all of this, that even though pretend it isn't, but I mean, a lot of that is going to be in all these people on the court are very prominent judges who would not want to sully their name by making an intentionally stupid decision just in the name of politics. So we'll see what happens there. But my point is, when you have basically both of the most important judicial bodies in international law with serious cases against Israel, and you also have hundreds of thousands of people in the street protesting in almost every single one of the countries that is supporting Israel, in some cases week after week. It's clear that something has shifted here, something, and
fuck yes,
from how things were 30 to 40 years ago, especially.
Yeah.
And the number one thing that I can think of
after the glorious leaders outburst this week is Enoch Powell nonsense. It shouldn't be called Normal Island anymore. It should be called Stranger Island. Topical.
Is somehow the internet has made it easier to ignore this shit. I can't exactly articulate how exactly, but it's obviously the most prominent change in the world aside from the fall of the Soviet Union, which is probably bigger,
What?
I forgot where I was going with that, actually. I'm a fucking moron.
Well,
but what I was gonna say was I don't know what I was gonna say.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is
perception.
I recognize all of that, and part of why I try to communicate these issues in the way that I do, even though I say almost the exact same things that you have said so far in this conversation, not signing off on everything that you say off stream or on social media.
You disagree with?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
We can get to that, but we're having a productive conversation right now. But
we have to yell at each other. I have to speak. I have to play video clips over you like Ethan Klein did.
Yeah, I'll move into that in a second. But The reason why, for example, why did I broach the subject of Israel with Bernie on First Amendment grounds and the unlawful detention and possible deportation of Mahmoud Khalil? Because I understand Bernie Sanders' position. I don't agree with it, and I think it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous position to have. It's repulsive to maintain the idea that Israel has a right to defend itself 19 months into Israel's.
Yeah, have you seen the videos of how Bernie talks to pro-Palestine protesters?
Yeah, I have. From like 2000 and there's like one from like
some of them
2012.
are recent.
There's one that's more recent where people come up to him while he's walking, but he's an old
He
curmudgeon.
really gets.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it that. I think it's the topic
You know what I think it
specifically
is?
that he knows he can't talk about.
You know what I think?
Can I just say to Americans, please, can you not leave your trash at the side of the road? Okay? It's a blight. It's a blight on a landscape. No one needs this shit. You know?
It is. I think it's what Bernie did to the average Democrat and the resentment that the average Democrat, because it shows their
What the fuck?
I always try to the room that I'm speaking to, if that makes sense. And I think a part of that is also to rate politicians grade politicians on a curve as well. Wonderful that China's dropping aid into Gaza.
Actually going to it's going to be ruled against them. They're actually going to be found
to the labor aristocracy, like Americans recognizing their class position, but then also recognizing their class position on an international scale and how much they benefit from the unequal exchange globally. The alternative to that also is that every dollar spent on global war and the extraction of natural resources and all of that endless bounty that doesn't even translate to America's material conditions improving could be a dollar spent directly on fixing the roads, fixing the potholes. A dollar spent on a bomb could be spent on educational material for children, better schools, a better ISP system, more robust welfare states. So this is like it's such an easy flip once you get Americans to that point, I think. And that's why I, regardless of my disagreements with Bernie Sanders, still hold some respect for him for being able to put this kind of politics in the forefront in a country like the United States of America, where I feel like before his 2016 run, positioning himself against like the establishment Democrats, it seemingly was a rudderless ship heading down the same, I guess, like necro state that we have become regardless of Bernie running. But at least now there is like more leftist organizing in the country, whether it be a more robust PSL movement, DSA, and even more unionization, even though our labor union participation rate is pretty fucking low.
Okay, let me grant.
But didn't you hear? Unions are pointless, according to the soothsayer. The Noah. The seer of... Not Noah as in Noah Samson, the person who knows things. Bad empanada. Who is a twat.
It's just, I don't care to argue like a lot of the stuff that you said, because honestly, I don't think it really matters. But
1 point to Hassan.
The left movement in the US is big in our.
I like that Noah's muted himself so these people can't hear him, but he's just like kind of just gently roasting the fuck out of him.
Say that's the case. You have the PSL and all these other. Does it though? Has this changed anything? Has anything meaningfully happened as a result of this? If anything, things have probably gotten worse, I would say. So, maybe me and your idea that the US is the place where something meaningful could happen is completely, utterly, and just totally wrong in reality.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a more
non-binary. You're going to have to be a bit more specific. How long are you? What bit of me?
Pessimistic attitude, and there are definitely days where I feel that way, but I try not to succumb to that feeling and still push on.
Tall. I am 6'1". I don't know what that is in centimeters. Shall I find out? Let's find out. Feet. No, not feet. You fucking twat. Feet to meters. Apparently that is 186 centimeters. I am 186 centimeters in height for the Americans. Bangers and mash. You like that. But that is a fucking microaggression, Ella. You just did a racism, and I don't appreciate the racisms against my people.
Knowing full well that, like, look, this movement is still marginal, is still tiny, but it grows every single day, and that's ultimately a good thing, because who knows where we might be at. And at the end of the day, the least that the American left could do is, like, try to get concessions and to try to get America to step away to the best of our ability from the global stage when the decline of empire is setting in.
If you want to get concessions, the best thing to do is to immediately, each and every one of you, break with the Democratic Party already now and get to work. You've had decades to do it. It's probably too late, but why not try? Because what you're doing right now is...
What can I just ask? What the fuck is Bad Empanada doing? Like, don't get me wrong. I think he's broadly speaking correct. I don't think it's the Democratic Party is really going to achieve all that much. Like, it's whatever. But, like, what the fuck are you doing, Bad Empanada? Like, oh, tish tish, I'm going to wag my finger at the American left because you're not behaving exactly as I like. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing, mate? What have you achieved in anything? It's just like, it's just holier than thou bullshit. But not even backed up by anything.
Isn't doing anything anyway, so what's the difference? You want a great example?
I'm not against that.
Precisely. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying... Yeah. It doesn't have to be an argument. Everything doesn't have to be a yelling match.
Yeah, I think Bernie probably is the best possible option we had to do that too.
I mean, there was
also notice how Bad Empanada, that video we watched the other day of him being like, Hassan, you need to stop being a fucking bitch. You need to stop being a cock and do exactly as I do. And now he's on stream and he's like, we don't need to argue. Not everything has to be an argument, bro. I'm just here communicating, yeah. It's fine. Like, so bitch made.
2016, I even thought, like, you know, he might be something special. He might have been, if he had been elected, he might have been different. You know, he had the balls back then to call out obvious shit, like, you know, there was a coup in Bolivia, basic shit like that literally no one else in the US was saying.
Yeah.
No, but didn't you hear David Pacman? It wasn't a coup. It was fine, actually. Let himself down there a little bit, Pacman.
Stuff like that. And since then, he's just sort of become a shadow of himself. I mean, he's old as well.
Or even running as a major party candidate, running to...
Yeah, like the Democrats chose to lose rather than let him win. It's just a shame that after that...
Yeah, Bernie, why can't you be more like me? Bernie, you're doing it wrong. I, Bad Empanada, a twat on the internet. I know the real way to do this, Bernie. You've got it completely wrong. Like, I'm not saying we need to declare war on Argentina. I'm just saying, like, I'd do that. That's going to be my new catchphrase. I've decided.
He didn't really do anything. Like, if anything, that experience turned him into more of an establishment guy than he was before. And that's just sad. But I mean, what I was going to say is that look at the Luigi Mangione thing recently. That is an issue that very directly affects many Americans. Many. That guy, I haven't seen polls on him, but I would assume that a majority of people who know who he is and what he did probably have a favorable opinion of him. But it still hasn't resulted in anything. Like,
is that actually true? Do a majority have a positive view of him? I think probably a majority have a sympathetic view, but whether they have a positive view of him, I don't know. You got to bear in mind, this is America. Like, well, Jesus Christ. I think a majority of young Americans would have a positive view of him. But whether that's true of like boomers or Gen X people, I don't know.
Nothing has come of it at all. There was like a week period where like conservatives and liberals met together in parks and talked about how cool Luigi was and like how the healthcare system is really fucked up. And then everyone just went right back to what they were doing before, and nothing has fundamentally changed. Nothing has really fundamentally been inspired by what was an act that I would have thought would inspire that sort of thing in a country where people, or at least a time, maybe it's not even the US, maybe just the time period that we live in.
Well, no, it's the Morton. You're clearly wrong. He couldn't have been with you because he was with me at the time playing backgammon. We've been through this on stream before, okay? He couldn't have killed that bloke because we were playing backgammon in space, wearing moon boots. It was awesome. I'm just saying. So I don't know where the fuck you're making this up from. Entirely unnecessary. His alibi is rock solid.
Where people were ripe to actually take risks to try and seek meaningful change. This isn't happening anymore. And it's not just the US where this isn't happening. I mean, I live in Argentina, as you so astutely said. People in Argentina...
Apparently, if you sub to my channel, you can earn points for drops. Whatever the fuck that means. I don't know, but Twitch seem intent on getting me to tell you that. It's in the stream. In my stream, it's about every half an hour the thing flashes up saying, people who subscribe to your channel get drops until the 26th of May. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't even know what that is. What the fuck is a drop? What's a drop, chat? It's not just something you put in your eye, is it? It's like a Twitch thing or some shit. God, I'm fucking old.
Same thing now. They just let shit happen. This is a poor country where people in general have less to lose, and they just sort of let themselves be experimented on like a pack of lab rats. There are people protesting against it. Those people are trying to do stuff, but most people are sort of happy to just sit back, relax, and see what's going to happen as someone...
We get stuff for subbing to you. Okay, well, sub to me and you get stuff. I don't know what that stuff is, but apparently you can sub to me and get stuff. And I noticed that It's a Morton isn't sub to me. But you can get some stuff, It's the Morton. If you sub to me, you get stuff. You just said so yourself. So you'd be foolish not to sub to me and get some stuff. Whatever the fuck that means. I'm trying to entice you in with something I don't know. Stuff is a cream pie. Get stuffed. You will not get a cream pie from this stream pie. Okay?
Tries to do to that country the same...
Unless you donate a lot, then I might do. I do.
That has already been done to that country 50 times before and never worked in those times either.
I think part of that is also because of the treat economy. Like, Americans are pacified by the bountiful treats that they have at their disposal. So
Yeah, I mean,
That
and a
is
part of those
it,
treats
like-
is the internet and social media as well.
Here's that too, for sure. That's also a treat. But what I was gonna say is this, okay? I fear that if the only alternative is socialism or barbarism.
Okay, what we got? Favourability of Luigi Mangione. All voters. Unfavourable 43, favourable 20%. Yeah, see, there you go. All voters. Yeah, unfavourable 50%, favourable 43%. So yeah, exactly half are unfavourable. So that doesn't surprise me massively. A lot of boomers would fucking hate that shit. Because they're boomers. It's Crunchyroll. So, what the It's the Morton, God bless you. You have replied now 3 times, and I'm still no clearer as to what the fuck any of this means. I'm just going to read this verbatim, and you can try and translate this as much as you want. It's Crunchyroll, one word. So English translated Japanese over sexualized cartoons, I think I will pass. What the Crunchyroll? Do I want to? I don't want to broadcast, because if it's sexualized stuff, I can't fucking put it up on screen. So. Crunchyroll.
Right? I fear that without proper political education, without any class consciousness, without any...
Crunchyroll is an anime streaming platform. Right. Well, if you want Crunchyroll, you need to subscribe to me, apparently. Yeah. I almost don't want you to subscribe now, because I don't want to increase the number of anime things in the world. I feel like it'd be irresponsible of me to expose you to that. So actually don't give me money. You shouldn't do that, because fuck Crunchyroll.
Mechanisms of pushback, without any sort of like structural organizing on the labor front, that when all of this crumbles inevitably, and I do think it will, all we will have is a fascist movement, and that's already kind of happening anyway.
This is actually quite boring. I'm gonna keep going with it to the hour mark, so we've got like 6 minutes or whatever, and then if it doesn't get any better, I'm just gonna go to bed.
So that's my big fear, and that's what I try to.
Yeah.
That's why I try to do everything in my power to, one, talk to international.
Someone produce an anime of Kev crusading against anime. Please don't do that. If you are talented enough to do actual drawing, please don't waste your fucking time with that. God bless you, but don't do that. Use your art for good and not evil.
Leftist movements, regardless of how social democratically aligned they are, or even people like Mélenchon.
Stop it.
Mélenchon,
get some help.
Try to get
his mate Mélenchon. Did you see that? He interviewed Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the French socialist communoid guy. Which is fucking dope. Thank you, Madcat. Much love. Everyone go and follow Madcat Scotty Eye on the YouTubes. No, do you do YouTube? I don't know. But certainly on Twitch. Because they're fucking awesome.
People to organize and move in the positive direction, even if change doesn't seem immediate.
This is slop, but I knew it was going to be.
I mean, I'm not specifically accusing you here or anything, but if there's one thing that you could do with your content that might maybe help you use the position that you're in to do something that might actually matter, it is really actually start encouraging people to work outside of the Democratic Party and lead by example as well. Like,
again, I will just ask what the fuck you've done, and he'll say that's private, because they all fucking do that. Yes, I do YouTubes. Okay, well, everyone go and follow Mad Cat on the Yam Tubes as well. I fucking command you. How much money would it take to convince you to do a cooking stream where you make a pie because stream pie? I will not, and I repeat, not ever do a cooking stream. Under no conditions. Someone tried to convince me the other day. I won't out them, but a person, they're probably watching now, they're a regular lurker. They contacted me and they were like, you should do a 24-hour stream for your birthday. A 24-hour stream. I can barely get through like 4 hours. So that's like, I could do the 4 hours, it's just the 20 after that would be a bit of an issue, you know. The Kev was built for quality, condensed, not for longevity. Anyway, I won't be doing a cooking stream or hot tub stream. I might do one dressed up weird. I do the crab dance thing, so I've got no problem with costumes as such. But you know, it's just no weird shit, really. I'd watch you sleep, Kev. See that? I don't need to hear that, really, do I? That's a birthday penalty, not probably true. Hey, hello, Bobby. How are you? I'd watch you sleep. Oh, no. We don't. You will not be watching me sleep unless we are prison cell friends. And then that would still be weird, but I couldn't really stop you. But it would be weird. Femboy stream. Oh, God. I suppose I could possibly, feasibly do a femboy stream at some point. Very unlikely, but not absolutely impossible.
If you're going to talk to Bernie Sanders again, scream at him in the face. Scream at him. Scream. Use that one opportunity. Like, I mean, how many more chances you can have to talk to Bernie Sanders, really, right?
He's very old.
Also, Bad Empanada's not even joking there, I think he actually wants him to scream at Bernie Sanders, like that would make a difference.
He is very old.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't think I'll...
screaming at him.
Okay, I don't mean like literally scream at him, but I mean get combative. Put on a public spectacle of it.
I think,
you know?
well, see, that's what
give him a Kanye West, George Bush doesn't care about black people. Why not?
I think Ash Sarkar had a really productive conversation with Bernie that
hey, Ash Sarkar mentioned, fuck yes.
People use all the time, where she presented some of these questions because she had a longer, like an opportunity to have a longer conversation with him. If I'm
he
not
wouldn't have that with you. You're way bigger than him.
Yeah, lobsters don't have fur, so it wouldn't be a fur. It'd be like a pinchy. Be a pinchy.
Yeah, I think because he's had that conversation once already, he's probably a little bit more worried. Or, I mean, I don't think he would run away from having that conversation with me either. It's just
is Noah in the UK? I don't think so. They're American, right? I think they're in America.
That I guess the planets haven't aligned. But yeah, no, I think that it's important to ask these questions. I don't think it's unproductive. That was never my.
I don't think it's that important to talk to him about Israel specifically, because obviously he's steadfast in that.
Well, I did bring up
the
the
most important
third-party
thing to do
thing.
would be the third party thing, and
No, I did ask him that.
Did you?
Yeah, that was the other. Those were my two main questions. Was like, what kind of initiatives does he want to?
I'd fucking love to collab with Finster. That'd be dope. That's never gonna happen, but like it would be cool.
The three questions I have for Bernie were, do you think that, you know, we could build a robust third-party movement in this country, and like what are the steps to take to do so?
Would I do a Birmingham City stream? I think I probably would, if it was like, it would have to be an away game and like a big game or something. Like if we got promoted to the Premier League again or some shit, like I'd probably do some. I think so. That would be dope.
And then the other question was obviously going to be about like what are the direct actions that they want to engage with in terms of tackling the issue of like how this administration is using Israel as a way to undermine the First Amendment, because that is precisely what's happening. Like I am trying to frame it within. I'm trying to frame these questions or try to get people to ask these questions within the framework of American understanding, like recognizing the selfishness of the average American, recognizing American exceptionalism and American individualism. I think that those are areas that
I'm so tired. I know I've not been on long tonight. 186 centimeters long, as we discussed earlier, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because I can't be bothered. Rodka! God, he was a fucking king. Look at him. Eyes like an alligator. Anyway, and his tiny little smushy face. I do miss my boy, but it was awesome that he was ever here in the first place. That is. What the fuck? Is that me crusading against anime? Hang on. Oh. There I am. That's me crusading against anime. Thank you, 255. You are a delightful lunatic as always. God bless you. Anyway. Yes, I'll be back tomorrow. I think I'm going to be on Normal Island, which usually starts at about 7:30. So I'll probably be on just gone 7 in the UK, which is 2 p.m. on the East Coast of America, and 8 p.m. In Central Europe. And you can get your things from there. Let's see who's going on the various platforms. Oh yeah, no, Justice is going. Okay, we can go to... we can go over to Helena and all of that jazz. There you go. Save that. So hit me back up tomorrow. And you'll get to hear me do the thing where I call Jeremy Corbyn Hitler again. If you wanted to. It's a thing I do. And I do serious big boy talky thinky talk. News boy talk. Talk. Thank you all for listening and watching. Thank you all for your enormous fucking support. And I'll be back tomorrow. Free Palestine. No pass around.